Well, I decided I'd go ahead and finish It Was Dusk because we've only got 3 or 4 pages left. So, Aunt Mattie was telling stories to Sarah and Oliver. For the next month, Aunt Mattie would come over to walk with Oliver and Sarah once or twice a week. Really, she would walk one street light's worth, and they would wheel her in her wheelchair the rest of the way. But they all talked as they went and got to know one another better. At the end of that month, Aunt Mattie told Ollie that she thought she could make it on her own again and he was free to return to Atlanta. After informing him of this, she looked at him oddly. "Okay, Aunt Mattie, but I have a few things to take care of before I leave."
"Go on your own time, Ollie. Don't feel like you gotta hurry or slow down on my account."
That evening, actually, it was dusk, Oliver walked over to Sarah's house. As they walked down the road, clicking off streetlights, he said to her, "My aunt doesn't need me to stay with her anymore, so I guess I'll be leaving soon." Sarah gave a little gasp. Then she said, "I imagined it might be soon. She seems to be recovering so well now." Sarah was hurt to think he would be going out of her life. She realized how close she had come to feel to him. She even had grown to like Aunt Mattie. Well, maybe, she thought, I can visit her from time to time, and when he visits her, I'll see him too. Oliver, seemingly unconcerned, talked about the family business and where they lived in Atlanta. He said he had always lived in the garage apartment at his parents' house, but he thought that he would buy a house now. Sarah usually was a good listener, but now she only half heard Oliver. She thought, the kids won't even get to meet him. He'll be gone before they get here. She only heard him vaguely when he said, "I'm about old enough for my own home, I figure." Then Oliver stopped by a holly bush with branches weighted down by clusters of red berries. He grabbed Sarah's right hand, dropped down on one knee. Oliver looked into Sarah's eyes and said, "And I am old enough to get married, I figured too. Will you marry me, Sarah?" Pulled suddenly out of her reverie, Sarah felt faint. First she thought this would be a normal night of walking and talking. Then he unexpectedly announced he'd be leaving. Now he had proposed to her. Her knees started to buckle, and Oliver pulled her down to sit on his knee. "Well," he said, "how about it?" Sarah leaned her head on his shoulder and took a slow, deep breath. Spotsy was jumping up and trying to get into her lap. Oliver said, "Down, Spotsy." The dog obeyed. Sarah put her arms around Oliver's neck and said, "Well, I reckon it seems like a good idea to me." Oliver jumped up, lifting Sarah up at the same time and swung her around. Spotsy barked and barked. They walked fast back towards the cluster of houses and went in to tell Aunt Mattie. As they walked, Oliver took out a ring and slipped it on Sarah's finger. When they entered the front room, they were surprised to see Aunt Mattie sitting alert and dressed in her Sunday clothes. Oliver held out Sarah's hand so his aunt could see. Sarah was smiling. Aunt Mattie looked at the ring. She looked at Sarah and winked. Then she looked at Ollie and said,
"Well, it's about time. What took you so long?"
Ollie's mouth hung open in surprise, so Sarah reached over and pushed his chin up to shut it. "Don't want to catch any flies," she said. Aunt Mattie lived on for another 15 years or so, long enough for Oliver and Sarah to bring their 3 children to visit every few months. Long enough for their children to become familiar with that look of Aunt Mattie's that made them feel guilty even when they hadn't done anything. They kept the cottage and came and stayed there for a few weeks during the summers so the children could have a taste of the country. Sarah's grown children had approved of their mother marrying Oliver, and they eventually brought their own children to visit Aunt Mattie and the cottage too. They even became friendly with Mama and Pop Kirshner, who let them all come and swim in the pool whenever they wanted. When Aunt Mattie finally died, she was laid to rest in the cemetery at the crossroads. Her grave was the only one with a fence around it. That concludes our story of It Was Dusk. I hope you enjoyed it. Tomorrow, I'll start on a new story. So I hope you'll join me. I will be posting these stories up on my YouTube channel soon. Mama Stella's Whiz Bang. That's WHIZBANG. Have a lovely day.